Welcome to the Global WarWatch Network.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're looking at a story that really surfaced just a few months back,
That's right, June 2025.
but it instantly connected to decades of history, loss, and frankly, a lot of unanswered questions from the Sri Lankan Civil War.
A conflict that ended over 15 years ago, but the echoes are clearly still being felt.
It really highlights how important it is to stay informed, even on these really difficult subjects. The details here are, well, they're incredibly powerful.
Deeply disturbing.
Let me just start with this image. A baby bottle, a squeaky toy, children's clothes, found in a mass grave with over 140 skeletons.
It immediately asked the question, what happened in Sri Lanka's hidden war crimes?
Okay, let's unpack this discovery itself first. So picture this. Workers in Chemmani, northern Sri Lanka, they're digging, planning to build an electric crematorium. June 2025.
Just routine construction work, seemingly.
Exactly. But instead of foundations, their shovels hit. Human remains. What happened right after that?
Well, what's immediately striking is the scale. A quick pit test right away revealed 19 sets of remains.
19. Just like that.
And that forced the authorities, immediately to declare it a mass grave. And crucially, a crime scene.
So not just an old burial ground.
No, definitely not. It was clear this was something significant, something sinister. And then, by August, just a couple of months later, the count had jumped to 141 skeletons.
141 from a relatively small area.
About 165 square meters, yes. So a very dense concentration. The escalation was rapid, highlighting the urgency.
And this is where it gets even more just heart-wrenching. Among those skeletons, unmistakable signs of children, very young children.
Yes. One skeleton was specifically identified. Forensic analysis suggested a girl, maybe 4 to 6 years old,
Oh, wow.
and found with her school bag still there.
Her school bag. It paints such a picture.
It absolutely does. And if you look at the other items found alongside the remains, it paints an even broader, devastating picture.
Like the items in the hook?
Exactly. A baby bottle, a squeaky toy, toddlers' dresses, tiny socks, little shoes, bead bangles, even a baby powder tray.
So not just one child.
It strongly suggests entire families might be among the victims, including infants, toddlers, extremely young children.
And the way they were buried.
That's also highly indicative. Sources say the burials were shallow, scattered, very disorganized.
Damp hazard.
Completely. And most bodies didn't have clothing. It all points away from any kind of formal, respectful burial.
Suggests something hurried, clandestine.
Precisely. A desperate act, not a planned interment.
You really feel the weight of that. It's a recent find, June 2025, but it immediately connects back, sends shockwaves.
Because it links directly to that long, unresolved conflict, the Sri Lankan Civil War.
Right. This isn't just history, it's a raw, current link to unanswered questions.
Definitely.
So to really get the significance here, we need to rewind. The Sri Lankan Civil War, 1983 to 2009, a brutal period.
Marked by immense suffering and critically countless civilian disappearances, people vanished.
Leaving these deep scars. So why Chemmani? What makes this specific location so important in that whole narrative?
That's the crucial question. Why here? And the sources are consistent. This area, including the exact spot, the cremation ground where the grave was found,
Yes.
it was under direct Sri Lankan military control from 1996, when they captured Jaffna nearby, right through to the end of the war in 2009.
So continuous military presence and control for over a decade.
Undisputed control, that's a critical piece of context.
And then there's this testimony from way back, decades ago.
This is pivotal. In 1998, an army soldier, Chemmani Rajapaksa, he was already sentenced to death for unrelated crimes, rape, and murder.
Okay.
He made a confession in court. Said he knew where bodies were buried in Chemmani, up to 400 bodies.
400. He claimed he knew the locations.
He did, and what's really telling is that it wasn't just talk. In 1999, he actually led police to burial spots in Chemmani.
And did they find anything?
They did. Remains were found, including those identified as a schoolgirl, her family, and a neighbor. So his claim was at least partly verified on the ground.
But then?
Abruptly, the investigation just halted.
Halted.
Yeah.
After finding bodies based on his confession.
Yes. And this pattern, military control, a confession leading to fines, then investigations stopping. It's a significant theme here. It raises serious questions about why those earlier inquiries weren't pursued.
Creates a real sense of, well, unresolved issues. Suspicion, maybe?
Exactly. Distrust among those still searching for answers.
And let's not forget that Human Rights Commission report from 2003.
Right, that investigated missing persons cases between 1990 and 1998. 281 cases looked into.
And its findings.
Stark, it attributed 243 disappearances to the military, 25 to the Tamil Tiger rebels.
Okay, so clear attributions. But here's the really jarring contrast now.
Yes.
That 2003 report listed no children as missing. 0.
That's right. No children listed in that specific cohort of disappearances investigated?
Yet here we are, in 2025, finding remains of very young children in Chemmani. That discrepancy is unsettling.
Deeply unsettling. It begs the question of whether the scale and nature of disappearances, especially involving children, were fully understood or documented back then.
It feels like we're peeling back layers and finding things that were perhaps hidden or overlooked.
Potentially.
And this isn't just about reports or numbers. It's about people, families who've waited decades.
Decades of uncertainty, of anguish.
When those belongings found in the grave of the clothes, the toys were displayed publicly in August 2025. The idea was to help identification.
Right, a desperate measure, hoping someone might recognize something.
And people came. People like Melanith and Mary Callista. Can you tell us about her?
Her story is incredibly poignant. Her husband disappeared way back in 1996. Arrested by the military, she says, and then just gone.
Near 30 years.
Exactly. She went to that display, hoping against hope to see something, even just a piece of his clothing. Anything for closure.
Did she find anything?
Sadly, no. But her demand is clear, and it echoes what many families feel. She wants the state army to admit they made arrests, acknowledge people died, and provide compensation.
It's about truth, acknowledgement.
It's about the fundamental right to truth and justice for victims of what international law calls enforced disappearances.
Which is when state agents are involved and then deny it, placing the person outside legal protection.
Precisely.
And her story isn't unique, sadly. There's Savannah Thinselva-Millar.
Another devastating story. Her younger brother was taken, allegedly by the military, in '96. Then, years later, in 2009, her husband disappeared after being stopped at a checkpoint.
Unimaginable loss. She also went to the site.
She did. Again, searching for any sign. But like many others, she mainly saw children's items.
Which, while heartbreaking itself, must have just amplified her own fears about her missing brother and husband.
It's a constant, painful reminder of the possibilities, the unknown fates.
And the raw emotion. You mentioned Sindulful Sofilitumi.
Yes. Her son went missing. She was seen crying as she left the site, having found nothing recognizable. And the display even had wedding photos. Senmugam Satkunarasa and Ranjana Devi.
Wedding photos.
Yes, alongside a government certificate officially declaring Sanmugam missing. It just brings home the personal reality, the faces behind the statistics, and the long-term agony these families live with.
That perpetual limbo.
Yeah.
Waiting for news that never comes.
And international human rights law recognizes their right to know the truth, the fate of their loved ones.
So given this immense need for answers, why is it so hard now? Why the difficulty in getting clarity, identification, justice?
The challenges are really multifaceted, deeply entrenched. Let's start with just identification.
Okay.
The burial conditions themselves are a huge problem. Shallow graves, disorganized. Remains get degraded by the elements, mixed up. Forensic analysis becomes incredibly difficult.
Makes sense. What else?
Well, beyond the physical state, there's a systemic issue. Sri Lanka currently lacks proper, standardized guidelines for investigating mass graves.
Really? No official protocol?
Not in the way international best practice dictates. You need clear steps for securing the site, excavation, evidence documentation, chain of custody. All vital for credible investigation and potential future prosecutions. It's a fundamental gap.
And perhaps the biggest hurdle?
Arguably, yes. There's no established national DNA bank in Sri Lanka.
Ah, okay. That would be crucial.
Absolutely crucial. A DNA bank would let investigators compare DNA from the remains with samples from families of the missing. It's often the most definitive way to get positive identifications.
So activists are calling for this?
Urgently. People like Brito Fernando are pushing the government to fund a DNA bank, maybe seek international help to set it up and run it, because the public displays of belonging.
Well-intentioned, but...
Exactly. They haven't been very effective. It's hard for families to spot one specific item among so many generic or fragmented things.
Okay, so identification is tough. What about justice? Accountability. Suspicion points towards the military, given their control of the area, that past confession.
Right. The circumstantial evidence, the historical context. It does raise strong suspicions, but the official identities of specific perpetrators, the chain of command involved, that remains unclear, officially at least.
And this touches a very sensitive nerve in Sri Lanka, doesn't it?
Exceptionally sensitive. You have to understand the political landscape. For many Sri Lankan nationalists, the military are heroes. They won the civil war.
Ended a long and brutal conflict.
Exactly. So any investigation that looks like it might blame the military for, alleged war crimes, it often gets seen as undermining that victory narrative, as an attack on national pride even.
So probing the military is politically risky.
Very risky. And you see this reflected in official statements. The Army spokesman, Brigadier Waruna Gamej, pointed out that no one has formally accused the Army regarding Chemmani.
Needs proof.
He needs proof, and he framed it as a civil matter, something for the police and the courts to handle.
Distancing the military institution itself.
Essentially, yes. It shifts the burden onto civilian authorities and highlights this really complex tension between national security narratives, public sentiment, and the pursuit of justice in a society still grappling with its past.
A very difficult balance.
Incredibly difficult, trying to move forward while dealing with these deep historical wounds.
So, with all these complexities, what happens next? Is the Chemmani investigation stalled? Or is there still work being done?
Oh, it's definitely not stalled. There's significant ongoing work. Investigators are pressing on.
Oh, so?
They've used ground-penetrating radar, GPR, across a wider area of the cremation ground.
And that showed?
It showed what they call soil anomalies. Basically, disturbances under the surface that could indicate more buried remains.
So there might be more graves.
Potentially, yes. In an area about 3 times larger than the current dig site, the anomalies suggest more digging is warranted.
And are they pursuing that?
They are. They've requested court approval to keep excavating for another 8 weeks, so there's a clear intent to be thorough, at least at the site level.
That ongoing work is obviously vital. But looking bigger picture, what's the path forward here for Chemmani, for Sri Lanka?
Well, the on-site work is crucial, but its ultimate value depends on a broader commitment. Activists like Brito Fernando argue that only a proper, credible, independent investigation by the government can truly clear the air.
To either find accountability or, as he put it, free its military from suspicion.
Exactly. And that aligns with international human rights principles. States have an obligation to investigate serious violations thoroughly, impartially, hold perpetrators accountable.
So this Chemmani case becomes more than just one tragic site.
Absolutely. It's a powerful, somber reminder of the Sri Lankan Civil War's legacy, yes, but also of that universal struggle, the fight for truth, for justice, for the basic dignity of those who disappeared.
It really forces us to ask, how do societies actually heal when answers remain buried? Literally and figuratively.
It's a profound question. How do you reconcile? How do you move past impunity? The path is often long, it's difficult, fraught with political challenges.
But the demand for truth persists.
It does. The demand from those who lost loved ones, it remains unwavering. It's a testament, really, to human resilience in the face of such immense tragedy.
This has been a really important, though difficult discussion, illuminating the complexities and the ongoing human cost linked to the Chemmani mass grave. Thank you for sharing your insights.
Thank you for having me. It's crucial these stories are told.
We encourage all of you listening to like, share, and subscribe to Global WarWatch Network for more insights into global conflicts and their profound human impact. Please do share your thoughts in the comment section below and join us on social media. You can find all the links in the description. Thanks for tuning in.